For the next 29 days or so, I made a promise to myself that I will not be playing video games, even though I broke this promise this morning. I'm going to be trying to stick to it from now on. And this is an honor to the month of Ramadan. And there's also other reasons that I'm going to go into, within a couple of minutes or so. And also what that means is that for the channel, for those who are subscribed, the videos are not going to be game related as much because of that reason. And I'm going to go into what is Ramadan and why do Muslims, or what do Muslims do in Ramadan and why. I thought it'd be more befitting to explain that in this video. And simply because if you're an older subscriber, you know that one of the purposes of this channel is also to let people know more about Muslims and what Muslims do, what Muslims are and what they aren't, as opposed to what's actually present and prevalent in the media. And a lot of people, they say a lot of things, especially after 9/11, regarding why don't Muslims come up and stand up and say something against these actions if they're actually not part of their religion. Why is it that you guys are not coming up and standing up and defending what's right and talking about justice, but you only talk when something is wronged against you, when you're wronged or something's being done against you? I've heard that argument a lot. So this is my way of basically giving back and letting people know what is Islam and what do Muslims do and what don't Muslims do. And I think part of us being a society, just as human beings, we should know and we should be aware of our surroundings and the different cultures around us, so as that for one, we don't offend people, and two, so as that we can educate ourselves and keep ourselves from being ignorant of what's actually out there, so as that we can actually know what we're saying before we say it. So let's get to the point here. What is Ramadan? So there's a short answer and there's a long answer. The short answer is just to say that Ramadan is a month in which Muslims fast, and what they abstain from is they abstain from food and drink and sexual desire until from the beginning of dawn until the end of dusk, or the beginning of dusk. So that's basically the short answer, and that would include all types of foods. It's not just it's not like different religions where sometimes they fast from a specific type of food. This is just fasting in general from all food, for most of the day basically. So it's not like you're fasting for 30 days literally, and then after the 30 days then you start eating. People would probably die by that, because especially if you're not going to get water. But it's just more in the day itself. But there's more to it than just that, and this is where the long answer comes in. So basically, let me start off with what is Ramadan and what is the significance of Ramadan. Ramadan is a month in the Islamic calendar. The Islamic calendar is based on the lunar year, and therefore it's based on the phases of the moon as opposed to the solar year. And one of the months is Ramadan. And Ramadan is the month in which the Qur'an, which is the book that Muslims firmly believe that it's the word of God, was revealed during that month. So that's one huge thing for Muslims, is that not only do we believe that this is the book of God, but we believe it was revealed in that particular month. So you have to try to understand it from the passion and beliefs of Muslims. If we revere this book, then of course we're going to revere this month. We're going to revere the day that it came. We're going to revere the month where it was revealed. So that's one thing that makes this month special for Muslims. Another thing that makes this month special is the purpose behind why it is that there's a fast in the first place. So to answer that question, we go to the book itself. What does it say? What does God say regarding the month of Ramadan? What do Muslims believe? And God says, or Allah is Arabic for God, and Muslims believe that He said, يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون. O you who believe, this is reference to the Muslims. It's been prescribed to you the fasting has been prescribed to you as it was prescribed on the people before you, so that you can attain taqwa. Taqwa is an Arabic word. I'm going to that as well. This is in reference to the Jews, the Christians, those people that came before, because Muslims believe that just as we received the book and just as we have a messenger and a prophet, every single part of the world received a messenger and a prophet, where God is basically telling them, you know, the good morals, all these things that are basically coherent in most religions. You know, there's don't kill, don't do this, don't lie, don't steal, all these things. So, and if you look at, you know, other denominations of Christians and Jews, you know, they have remnants of fasting as well. Some fast on certain days. Some churches, they abstain from certain meats, or you know, they would probably drink during the day, but they wouldn't have anything else, or they would abstain from a specific type of food, etc. So this is the first reason as to why Muslims fast, because they believe that God said it. And because God said it, that's the first reason that they do it. You know, if He says something, they'll do it. So that's because the meaning of a Muslim in the first place is one who submits themselves to God. So that's the first thing. The other thing is because of all the benefits that come within the month, and all the things that come within the benefits of the fast. It's not just, and this is me addressing the Muslims, and because we as a population, we are many times ignorant about our own faith, and some people, they might just think that it's just abstaining from food and miss the actual point of it. When the Prophet, peace be upon him, he himself said, he said, some people will fast and they will gain nothing from the fast except hunger. You know, them not eating the food that's not the point of it. What they've gained from not eating the food is nothing but pain for themselves, and so it's pointless. But the point of the fast is actually to basically develop your character, to be a better person. I mean, if you're doing this for an entire month, if you're trying to develop a habit within an entire month, it's going to be much easier for you to keep it afterwards. And when you're fasting, you're abstaining. You're not just abstaining from food and from drinks, but you're also abstaining from cursing. You're abstaining from lying. You're abstaining from being angry. You're abstaining from looking at, you know, at things you shouldn't be looking at. You're abstaining from cheating. If you're to cheat people, like if you're working in a business, when you have money in your hand, it's very easy for you to go wrong with that money. And I can guarantee you, so many businesses have either cheated you or are cheating people right now. So these are things that are difficult. These are the things that we're supposed to be trying to fix. These are the things that Muslims during this month should be trying to fix. Dealing with people in the street. You know, for instance, you might see people on the news. Sometimes you see Muslims. They come up and they say the weirdest things. You know, for some reason, it's seen as if you're more religious if you have like a straight face and, you know, you're angry and, you know, you have this this strict persona. When in reality, that's not what the religion teaches. But you're going to see a lot of Muslims like that. This is something that they're supposed to be working on. When I see a person in front of me, I say hi to them. I'm nice to them. I hold the door for them. You know, I'm kind to them. I see something in the street that's blocking the street, I go there and I pick that up. This is the meaning of the word taqwa. That the purpose of you fasting is so you can gain taqwa. Taqwa would mean, if I would just sum it up in a whole bunch of different English words, it would mean self-restraint. You're able to control yourself. You're able to control your desires. You're able to control your anger. You're conscious. You're God conscious. You're conscious that God is there and He's watching you. You're conscious of how to deal with people. You're always looking for the good, and you're always trying to do what's better. Also, it's a month where it's very encouraged for you to be generous and for you to give. One benefit from it when you're hungry is when you realize, you know, it's difficult. It's not easy. For instance, this morning, I'm going to be fasting from about 4 o'clock in the morning until 8:20. So that's about 16 hours right there. So it's not, nobody said it's an easy process, especially it's in the summer right now. But the thing is that you start realizing, you know what, I'm voluntarily doing this. I'm voluntarily fasting. I'm voluntarily keeping from food and from drink. But some people, they don't have that option. They're not thinking, oh, today I'm going to just not have food and later on I'm going to have food. They don't have that option. Some people, they, you know, all around the world, there's so many countries that are really suffering. They're really suffering from famine and from lack of food, and even if they're suffering from war, you know, they could be suffering from war and they won't be able to eat. And at the end of the day, they're not guaranteed that they're going to be able to break that fast. They're not guaranteed that at the end of the day, the guy that you see across the street, he's not guaranteed to have a meal. Matter of fact, he's not even guaranteed to be living. So it really makes you understand and humbles you as to the status of everybody else, and it makes you grateful for what you have. If you're doing it the right way, if you actually try to contemplate and think about it. Other people, unfortunately, you know, some people, they don't, things like this don't affect them. And that's why it's very important to stress the difference between a Muslim as an individual and Islam in and of itself. You know, one Muslim, his actions don't represent their religion. You know, for instance, the other day there was that guy who went to the movie theater during Batman Rises, and you know, he committed a massacre. He killed 12 people. He dressed up as some sort of villain. You know, he put a gas mask on, tried to make it cinematic. He shot the people during a shooting scene, but you know, his actions don't necessarily reflect his parents. You know, his actions don't necessarily reflect the school that he went to. Just because he was a student at the medical school that he went to doesn't mean that that medical school is at fault, but that there's something wrong with that specific individual, because everybody's different. So that's one thing. Another thing is it prevents you from fighting. It's that the goal is for you to control your anger. I know I've mentioned that before, but it's something that it's very easy for us to lose our anger, especially on YouTube, and especially when we're playing video games. You know, like if we're on Call of Duty and someone starts trash talking us. You know, the other day someone commented and said something on one of the YouTube videos, and it was a bit annoying. I got annoyed by it, but I remembered that I was fasting. I remembered I was in this month, and I remembered that I'm actually trying to be a better person, and I'm trying to deal with things better. So one solution I had, just delete the comment and move on with life. It's not that serious. So its purpose also is for you to control yourself and control your anger. Put that flame down. Also, one other thing is to reduce the amount of food that we eat. You know, actually it has a physical health benefit to it, and a mental state that you should put yourself in. Like for instance, if you're trying to lose weight in general, you're trying to cut down on food. One of forget diets. You know, all these diets, a lot of the things that people say, you know, oh, you know, you got the Atkins diet, you got the, what other diet is there? Help me out here.
I don't know.
I forgot about that. Obviously, I don't diet, right? But a lot of people say that these diets don't work. And the reason why they don't work is because it's difficult on the person. And, you know, you end up constricting yourself as to what types of food you should eat, what types of food you shouldn't eat, etc., etc. When really the biggest issue with losing weight is the proportions. You know, we're recommended to eat about 3 hours apart. Every 3 hours you eat, but in small proportions. So one thing about fasting is that it's supposed to help you be able to eat smaller proportions. And that's something that's recommended in Islam. Actually, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he said, when you eat in a way that you fill only 1/3 of your stomach. You know, fill only 1/3 of your stomach for food, and then the other 1/3 for drink, and the other 1/3 for gas. You know, for you to breathe, for you to actually breathe. Instead of actually filling it up when it goes all the way to the top, where actually the food literally goes all the way to the top of the stomach, and that's actually what ends up in you getting things like acid reflux, all that, and you end up gaining weight. But I was just listening to the radio the other day, and they were saying one other benefit of Ramadan, and this is just regular radio, NPR. They were saying that it's good for the economy. And the reason why it's good for the economy is opposing exactly what I just said, which is that supermarkets love when Ramadan comes, because it's like Thanksgiving on crack. You know, it's like you have Thanksgiving for 30 days. Because what ends up happening in reality is that Muslims, they end up buying a lot of food because you're hungry, right? You're really hungry, and then by the end of the day you think you're like, you could eat a whole kitchen. So, you know, and then they make invitations and they get huge meals. And unfortunately, they come to the realization halfway during their plate, eating their plate, they realize they're not going to be able to finish all of this. Because, yeah, they were hungry before, but they're not as hungry now. And they end up filling themselves. Some people actually end up gaining weight after the month because they don't control themselves, and they miss the point of that. And, you know, I'm not saying that it's bad to make invitations and whatnot, but it's good to keep proportions and to make sure that you don't waste the food, because then then you're actually going against the whole purpose of this. Another benefit of Ramadan is it's supposed to help you to avoid arrogance and to decrease your arrogance. A lot of people, they get arrogant because of their money, because of their wealth, because of how many games they have, because of their gaming score, for whatever reason that is, because of their status, whatever it may be. They might look at somebody else that's less than them, and they would look at themselves as like, yeah, I'm way better than this guy, and then they think that this gives them the right to belittle them. And some people, ironically, feel arrogant because of their race, or because of what country they're from, or because of what religion they're from, or what somebody else's religion is. And they get arrogant in that way, in a way that they belittle the person. And this month is supposed to teach you that arrogance means nothing, because at the end of the day, you're all the same. You're all humans. Yeah, you might have things that are better than this person. Yeah, this person might still have some things that are better than you. At the end of the day, you both have the same weaknesses and you both have the same needs. At the end of the day, I'm going to be hungry and you're going to be hungry. And you still have that need and you still depend on that. No matter what, you're going to still depend on food. And after food, you're still going to have something else that you're going to do. And so it shows you that as high as you are, everybody ends up using the bathroom. As beautiful as a person may be, everybody's going to end up doing things that are signs of their weakness. So it humbles you. You're supposed to be humbled. Look at other people and think twice before you say something bad. Also, forgiveness. This is the month of forgiveness for a couple of things. Forgiveness for you towards other people. You're supposed to try to forgive other people. If you're going into Ramadan, when it first starts, you should try to let go of all animosity you have. A lot of people, they have, they hold a lot of grudges, and sometimes it ends up breaking up families. You have mothers and sons and daughters not even talking to each other at all. This is for Muslim, non-Muslims, for anybody. And this is supposed to try to bring you together. It's supposed to try to make you know what? I'm starting new because I want to be the best I can this month. And the reason for that is because the person who's fasting, they want to attain more deeds, more good deeds. They want to have more things on their scale when it comes to the Day of Judgment, and they want to have their sins forgiven. And this is one of the most important things for a Muslim during that month. I know for some non-Muslims, you might not believe these things and whatnot. That's understandable, but I'm just giving you the stance of a Muslim and their mindset, and why it's so important to them. For this month, for the Muslim, and for those Muslims who don't know, the good deed that you do is counted as 70 good deeds if you were to do them outside. So the prayer that you make is counted as, if you just make it once, it's counted as if you did it 70 times. And that's a lot. If you give generously, if you give somebody, even if you give a penny and all you have is a penny, and you give a penny, not only is it worth more for you, but it's worth 70 times more than it would have been outside of the month. So it increases the chance for you to give. Also, the Prophet, peace be upon him, he said, whoever fasts Ramadan the way it's supposed to be fast, sincerely and effectively, trying their best to actually fulfill the fast. And like I said, fast is not just the food and the drink. They will have all their sins forgiven, everything they've ever done. And this shows you, again, some people, they try to say Islam is so harsh, Islam is so, and people try to curse God. As Muslims, they try to curse Allah, as if they're cursing another God. Really, Allah just means God in Arabic. But they say, oh, he's the God of Islam is very aggressive. He has no mercy. And when you look at the Qur'an, every single chapter starts by saying, in the name of God, the most merciful, the one who is the bestower of mercy. It says it gives him 2 attributes of mercy. He gives himself 2 attributes of mercy every single time. And constantly is repeated, he's the oft forgiving. Come ask for forgiveness and I'll forgive you. So it shows you the mercy in Islam, that no matter what you've done, no matter what sin, in this life, you might get punished in court. If you go to court and you've done like the worst thing in the world and you've really felt bad and you really don't want to go back to doing that, They're not gonna forgive you. You know, the judge isn't gonna say, "Oh, you know, okay, you know what? I forgive you. It's okay. Just don't do it again." No, they'll give you life in prison, or 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, and then give you a fine on top of that. You know, it's or you might even get the death penalty, etc. But in Islam, during this month, forgiveness is even more attainable. So I know I extended the talk a little bit, but believe it or not, this is actually just a small segment of what Ramadan is and why do Muslims fast during this month. What are the benefits of Ramadan for Muslims, and how they can actually improve themselves as just pure human beings. But I hope for those who didn't know some things that they benefited from it. I'm sorry if I offended anybody. I did not mean to offend anybody during this talk, and I hope the Muslims have also taken some lessons from this. Thank you. Peace.